Our design brief was to build the lightest winch while still maintaining the reliability.
You were 9-10 kilos lighter, 25% more efficient.
People were kind of dubious at first. They were like, how can you make it as strong?
I need a very reliable, powerful winch that's going to get me out.
We grew very rapidly. We sold out in 3 to 4 weeks.
Your free spool is just dynamic. It's just so fast to pull that rope out.
You literally will never be able to bust this setup.
Well, here we are at Carbon Off-Road with just a very small slice of the products that they do. But Dan, the big chief down here, tell us a little bit about the history of Carbon.
Back in 2010, I was working as a marketing and advertising manager in an online off-road parts company, and then I moved into my own company, KPD 4x4, as an online four-wheel drive parts supplier. We quickly gained momentum. It was still quite early days for the industry, selling in that online space back then. There wasn't as much competition. It was a fairly open market, and we were able to make some good ground over the years as a small business. And then towards 2011, 2012, we were looking forward into the future and going, where are our opportunities? How can we continue to grow and be relevant as a four-wheel drive parts supplier in the online realm? And what we decided was that the best way forward for us would be to actually build our own brand.
I'm gonna go build my own
Winch brand
with
quality components
and
great customer service.
Winches were a product that we were selling on a consistent basis. There's always a requirement for winches in Australia in many different applications, not just four-wheel drive, but recreationally, commercially. There's quite a wide market for winches. And I had a real personal interest in winches as well. Being an avid off-roader for basically my whole life, I played with winches on my own vehicles, and I just had a real fascination with their capability, how such a small bit of gear could be so powerful and offer so much capability for someone in an off-road situation to be completely self-sufficient. I thought, well, that's probably a product I want to align with as a business. I want to be able to provide value to the market and put something on the market that offers some real value and reliability and back-end support and backup that a good product should have. So around 2012, we started our journey with Carbon winches. We started in development, working alongside some manufacturers to help us through that process. And basically it took us about 4 years to get to a point where we were happy to put our name to a product and bring it to market. So it was June 2016. We officially launched Carbon Winches Australia. And at that point in time, there was only 2 of us in the business. So we'd been running the online retail business, growing a wholesale network, doing all the development on the winches and some other recovery product to go along with the winches, because we couldn't just sell a winch. We had to do straps and other recovery items to complement that major range. And we're like, where are we going to get the money from? We're a small business. So our first order of winches that landed in Australia was 54 winches. And we sold out in, I think it was about 3 to 4 weeks. We were out.
Wow.
So totally new brand on the market. A fair bit of lead up marketing, pushing out through socials mainly and our network.
This is a great product and fairly priced. I'm going to buy this right now.
Just to tell people what was coming. We were just blown away by the initial response from the market, both the retail customers and also our dealers and trade partners that we had at the time. They just loved our concept. We were always focused from the start on lightweight. We could see it happening. It was already happening around 2012, 2014, 2016. There was a bigger focus on weight in the four-wheel drive industry and compliance to legal loadings on vehicles with GBMs, GCMs. The caravan market, we were seeing a lot of that happening as well. So we're like, well, where do we need to be as a business moving forward? And the big driving factor for us when it came to winches is that this is a huge chunk of steel sitting on the front of the bar. It was one of those things that we just went right from the start. Part of our design brief was to build the lightest winch that we could manage while still maintaining the reliability and the strength that was required to operate in our space. So the first 12K that came out, that was about 24 kilos. Compared to some of the other brands at the time, we were over 10 kilos lighter than the nearest other competitor for the winch as it was fitted to the vehicle. And we're talking about the winch frame itself, the control box, the cables, the hook, fair lead, and the rope and the other little bits and pieces. So that weight was everything that's fitted to the bar. And people were kind of dubious at first. They were like, well, how can you make it as strong? And it's like, well, we've actually put some effort into the design and engineering of the winch frame, the gear sets. And without going into too much detail, we just put a little bit of thought into it. And it was a fairly common sense approach for us at that time. So 2016 sort of came and went. We grew very rapidly. And through that journey, we started to hire more people. We were building stock. The commitment that we made right at the start at 2016, myself and Rob, my employee at the time, we literally pulled every winch out of the box, function tested, checked it, every kit, every winch that came into the country. We made sure that that winch was going to do the job for our customers. It's a commitment we still make now, but on a larger scale because we've got a lot more volume. Unfortunately, I can't check every winch myself. However, good procedures and a good QC program see our product sitting at a very high standard when it comes to reliability now. We don't want our name, our reputation to be affected. We're always in constant development. We never stop. So the 12K that we started with, we're on to version 3. We're about 7 years in now. We're not stopping. There's more coming.
Dan, that is looking extremely different.
Yep, this is our latest prototype of the brushless winch motor.
Exciting.
It is, yeah. Our initial program is going to see us making retrofit kits to our existing winch frames. So it means that if you want to buy a new winch kit in a brushless setup, you can do that. However, if you've already got our winch and you want to upgrade it to a brushless, then we can offer you the kit, which will be the winch, the full ESC controller, also a wireless remote. It's a pretty exciting times. There's a lot of benefits to brushless that we see compared to brush motors, and a lot of that has to do with that. The major part is just the weight and efficiency of the motors. So that was our first prototype that we had. So as you can see, it's a little bit smaller. It's actually quite a bit smaller than our existing 12-volt motor. What we did with this was basically we really focused on weight. So we're like, how much weight can we save off and still retain performance? But we kind of underestimated the capability of brushless. This little baby here, the first one, was about 3 kilos.
I'm the new winch motor. I'm very strong, but only weighs 3 kilograms.
It's only 30% the weight of our existing motor, which is about 9.5 kilos in 12 volts. So this is a 48 volt motor. It's a full brushless winch motor. We manage this with an electronic speed controller. So basically it's a software program that we use to connect up to the ESC, and we can program the brushless motor to have a range of different features depending on what the application is for the end user. So one of the massive advantages of this setup is that unlike the brushed motors, which if you hold it flat and just winch until something pops, you can do that because there's literally no control. It's on or it's off.
Yes.
With the standard solenoid. So with the ESCs, we can program in a whole bunch of features that can protect the winch motor, the ESC, from ever getting to a point where it's going to damage itself. So ultimate reliability is huge. Like, you literally will never be able to bust this setup because the software built into it just simply won't allow the winch to destroy itself. So that's a really massive feature and massive benefit of the BLDC setups. And on the power system side as well, the software can be programmed to not exceed the rated capacity of the battery. So if you're running a 48 volt lithium battery setup and its max continuous current draw is 150 amps, we're able to program the ESC not to exceed that current draw. So we can protect your power source, we can protect the winch, and there's a whole bunch of different features that we can use to make the product suitable for whatever application it's going into. So we get a lot of feedback from the winch, so we're getting RPMs, we're getting heat, we're getting amp draw, voltage readings, like live as well. So we can set things like instant alarms to go off if there's a low voltage setup. The system is full CAN bus integrated as well. So if you're running a CAN bus control system on the vehicle, then basically you can control the winch through your CAN bus operation systems. A lot of the tech is getting pretty up there. The four-wheel drive industry, I feel like we've been a fair way behind the marine and some of the other industries out there.
Definitely.
But we're starting to see some of this stuff filter through. And
we are.
Some of the big truck builds and even some of the four-wheel drive builds, they're getting a lot of this type of integration happening. So we're first to market with this stuff. No one else has got the capability to integrate a winch into a CAN bus system. This just offers basically an unlimited scope for carbon.
At this point, you are definitely well into the development phase, almost ready to go into production.
Yep.
But this setup here is far from what the production unit will look like.
Yeah, the production version will look a lot different to what we have here. We'll make it look a little bit prettier. It'll have some mounting options and all the cabling and everything will be tidied up in a way that makes it easy for the end user to make the whole system plug and play system, but also provide all of the capability that we've got with our electronic speed controllers. And these controllers are one of the most capable controllers on the market in terms of loading. So I won't tell you exactly what we're seeing with 48 and above voltages.
Yes.
However, our controllers are capable of 3 to 4 times the max current draw of our winch motors.
NANI?
What that allows, if you want us to provide you with a twin motor setup, then we can actually run 2 motors off 1 controller. It's capable to do that as well. The options are endless, and you can see all these tubes here, Simon. So to get the ultimate performance out of the speed controller, we can also offer a full water-cooled system for the ESC. You can run it without it. It'll work perfectly fine. However, it will perform better if it's run in conjunction with a cooling system.
Lighter, that's insanely light. Full control over the performance, but massively increased torque and power.
Yeah. So
What more do you want in a winch?
yeah. So this little baby here, 3 kilos, and it's a 20 kilowatt rated motor.
20 kilowatt.
Yeah. So put that in perspective.
20 kilowatt, guys.
Our 12 volt motor is about 5 kilowatts. So
Now, when we're talking about ratings, let's be clear, because a lot of people talk about the ratings of their winch motors, but they actually get it wrong or they misguide people because it might be 5 kilowatts in, but what is it out? So yours are 5 kilowatts out as a true rating of what the winch can do. It's not what it's sucking off your battery, which is what a lot of other winch manufacturers, that's how they rate their motors.
that's a really good point, Simon. The brushed motor technology as well is pretty old school technology, and it's actually not that efficient when it comes to transfer of power. That's why we're seeing some pretty crazy performance out of the BLDC motors, is because the efficiency is just through the roof. It just offers a new dimension for our market in off-roading. There's going to be some pretty cool stuff happening when we combine our motor. We're often seeing RPM values in the multiples compared to what the original motor was, but we can also spec the motor for a specific situation. So if you've got a problem that you need solved, come and talk to us, because we've got the capability to build a motor specifically for your application. So if you want low load on the line but high speeds, or if you want super high torque and low line speeds, or somewhere in between, we've got the capability to build whatever you want or program our existing motors to do the job. With the Scout Pro platform, we've actually got 4 different gear ratios available for this gearbox.
Right.
So basically the sky's the limit, and we're seeing some pretty crazy results. First lot will be a retrofit to the Scout Pro and 12K system. That's going to give us actually 5 different ratios available across the range. We're probably going to have a couple of different motors depending on the customer's outcomes. We'll basically set it up and match it to what you need.
Absolutely wild. I cannot wait. Any improvements in winching technology, that's got to be a good thing.
Yeah.
Now, one thing, Dan, I did notice is this cross-hatching or knurling you've got on the drum here. I haven't seen that on other winches. What's that all about?
Look, again, Simon, we just look at every aspect of the winch and we go, how can we make this as good as it can be? And really simple process is knurling on the winch drum tube. So we've actually done this right from the start, Simon. All of our winch drums have had a knurling process applied. It's a fairly obvious outcome in that the first layer of rope has a lot more to grip onto compared to a smooth drum tube. It just offers another layer of additional reliability and additional scope of capability for someone that might be getting right to the end of their winch rope. The winch rope is going to grip better to the knurled surface than it is a smooth drum.
Increased friction, the drum's going to hold the rope a lot stronger.
Yep.
Improved performance. Yep, fantastic. Now, it's always great to visit workshops, factories like yours, see what's going on behind the scenes, but we've come at a time when you're actually in a little bit of a mess, Dan.
Yeah, look, the place is generally a bit of a mess, but right now it's an absolute mess.
Which is actually a positive story.
It is, yeah. So next Monday, we're actually moving Carbon Off-Road headquarters, only about 500 metres down the road, which is painful in a way, but it's better than moving 100 kilometres, that's for sure. But Carbon Off-Road is growing. We've been bursting at the seams for probably the last 12 to 18 months anyway. So we started looking around for some options, and we're really, really excited to secure 1A at 1 Waterway Drive in Coomera.
Wow.
It's just literally down the end of the road here. This is probably the marine industry hub of Australia around here. It's a nice place to be.
Congratulations.
Thank you. This is it, the new home of Carbon Off-Road. This new facility, it's about 500 square metres total. We've got 12 car parks out the front, so plenty of space for people to come and drop in and check out what we've got to offer. Big glass front showroom, we're going to have our full range on display and functioning. So if people want to come and actually see a winch in action, come down and see us in our new showroom. There's some really exciting stuff going on at Carbon. Our new site is right on the main road in Coomera near the Marina Precinct, right on the corner at the roundabout there. We will be offering fitting services moving forward, which is something that we haven't offered in the past, but we get asked a lot about. With our USA expansion, we've had to grow the team. We've put on about 4 new people in the last 3 months to just help us with this growth journey.
So Dan, always awesome to catch up. If people need more information about the range of Carbon products and the things that you are doing, where can they catch up?
So the website is the best place to go, carbonoffroad.com.au, or if you're in the USA, carbonoffroadusa.com. You can also follow us on socials, so Carbon Off-Road Australia on Facebook and also Instagram.
Always good to catch up, Dan. Thank you for your time.
Thanks for dropping in.
Appreciate it. It's that time of the year again for a new series of Life Off-Road.
Waiting for a mate.
With new characters,
Come on, baby.
new vehicles, and an absolute thrilling season of 4-drive action.
I think that was a CV.
Kicking off with 2 massive episodes out of Queensland.
We're going to be winching.
We're going camping with mates.
We're climbing crazy rocks. There could be vehicles flipping.
And a few recoveries. And we're doing it all in one amazing location right here in Brisbane's backyard.